Alright, we're going to do oil change on my 2017 Rio today. It should be the same for 2012 to 2017. You're going to want to use 5-weight 20 oil. Offers the best protection whether it's winter or summer. And it's a little bit thinner than 5-weight 30, which you can use in this as long as it's not too low temperatures. You'll get better fuel mileage with 5-weight 20, which the manual recommends. And this is actually my first oil change, and I'm going to go ahead and switch over to full synthetic. I always use full synthetic for the best protection, best mileage. So it helps a little if you run the car for 60 to 90 seconds, get the oil a little warmed up. It'll help it come out a little quicker. If the engine's still hot, you want to make sure you give it plenty of time to cool down so you don't burn your hands when you let the oil come out. Okay, so here's the front of the car. Your drain plug is right up in there. It's kind of hard to see because it's dark, but so you have to remove this whole plastic shield here, which is held on by a bunch of these, looks like 10mm bolts. So you need to drop that so you can get to the oil drain plug, which is back up in there on the oil pan. Okay, so those are 10mm. There's 8 total. You see it's hanging down there. And then you just got this one last little plastic screw here you got to remove, and the whole thing should drop. Okay, there's with the plastic shield out of the way. So right there's your oil pan and drain bolt and your oil filter. So now make sure you're on a level surface and drain your oil. Okay, that should be a 17mm. And like I said, make sure you're on a flat surface. I'm lifted here, and yeah, I'm not doing the whole proper jack stands and all that crap like you should, so ignore that. But I'm actually going to lower it before I start draining it. That way I get all the oil out. If anything, you want to be on a level surface to be safe, but also with the front end of the car jacked up in the air like that, it's not going to get all the oil out. So I'm going to lower it as far as I can and then drain it. Okay, bolt comes out. Try not to drop it. There's your oil. So while this is draining, I'm going to lower this down to make sure I get all the oil out. Alright, so that's really tight and I cannot get it off with my hands. There's not much room in here for oil filter removing tool or whatever you want to call it. But I got these special vice grips here for removing oil filters. As you can see, it just barely fits. It's touching right there. So hopefully I can get it off with that. You're going to need a, I don't know, not all oil filter wrenches are going to fit up in here. There's too much shit in the way. But these should work for me. So see if I can get the oil filter off of here. Alright, there's with the oil filter off. I had to latch that thing on there about as tight as I could. I was even crushing the filter a little. It took me a good 1/8 to 1/4 of a turn before I could get it by hand. Finally got her off. I'll tell you what, those bastards at Kia don't want you to be able to do this. This is actually my first oil change, and that fucker was tight. Bastards. Alright, so on the new filter, on this rubber O-ring here, you want to take a little bit of the fresh oil just on a fingertip and rub around it, and that will keep it from seizing up like that the next time you got to change your oil, so it should come off easier. Okay, I got everything cleaned up down here. Once you finish draining the oil, reinstall your drain plug bolt. You want to snug it down, but not over tight. About 30 foot-pounds of torque should work. Your oil filter, you want to snug it on there pretty good with your hands. You're not trying to Hercules it on there and get it absolutely as tight as you can, but nice and snug. Now we gotta fill her back up with oil. Starting to rain on me here a little, I gotta hurry up. Alright, so in the manual it said the capacity was 3.8 quarts. Actually, let's check that real quick. Okay, so as you can see there, it says drain and refill 3.8 US quarts. It does not specify with or without filter change, because typically filter change you'll lose a few more ounces or a few more fractions of a quart than if you did not replace the oil filter. So I'll go ahead and put the 3.8 in there, and then we'll just check the level when we're done and see where we're at. Alright, make sure you use a clean funnel, and we'll go ahead and add that 3.8 quarts. Alright, so to the best of my ability, we have added roughly 3.8 quarts. So I'm going to go ahead and put the cap back on, and I'm going to start it and let it run for a few minutes and get warmed up. We'll shut it off for about a minute or so, and then check the level and see if that 3.8 brought it where it needed to be. Okay, so I'm sitting here warming it up like I said, and I wondered if this had a change oil light or whatever that I have to reset. But I do not believe so, because I have the LX model, so it's just the base model. It's got this little square information gauge here. But some of the other ones have a round gauge, and if you have the round gauge one, which maybe that's the EX or something like that, like the higher models, then you will have a thing that you would want to reset, and it tells you when to change your oil, and just follow your service manual on how to do that. But for me and the LX, I don't have to do that. Alright, so it's warmed up, the oil's had plenty of time to circulate. Now I'm going to shut it off for about 2 minutes and then go check our level. Okay, again, you want to be parked on a level surface. Make sure your vehicle is lowered. Check this properly. So you want to pull your dipstick tube from right there. Wipe the oil off of it. Right there you can, well, if this would focus, full mark on the left, low mark on the right. Reinsert after wiping it off. Make sure you install it all the way past the rubber snap ring. Pull it back out. Shit. And kind of hard to see because this won't focus, but we're right at about the full mark. And if you're there, you're good to go. So it seems like 3.8 quarts with filter change, and put you right at the full mark. If you do not change the filter, it's going to be roughly 3.5. Okay, so that's it. It's a good idea to take it for a quick little drive down the road and back, and then look under it, make sure there's no leaks, to verify that your oil filter's on tight enough and your drain bolt's on tight enough, all that. Make sure you don't have any leaks. And don't forget to put your plastic cover back on, and then you're all done. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you.